Imagine the oldest lake in North America, Mono Lake, just drying up,
Oh, wow.
a dying ecosystem, and all because we humans messed with its water supply.
Yeah.
But get this, Mono Lake actually made a comeback.
Hmm.
It's a powerful example of how we can use systems thinking to actually solve these really complex environmental problems.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly where our deep dive takes us today.
Okay.
Through a ton of textbook excerpts, research papers, news articles,
Got it.
all about environmental science.
So what's really fascinating here is we're not just talking about saving one lake.
Yeah.
We're going to unravel how scientists use, like the scientific method, to understand our whole planet.
Okay.
We'll uncover the secrets behind biodiversity,
Right.
population dynamics,
Hmm.
and even delve into the flow of energy and nutrients within ecosystems.
Okay, so we're not just skimming the surface. We're going deep.
We are?
But before we get lost in the weeds,
Yeah.
how about we just take a step back and remind ourselves
Okay.
what exactly is environmental science?
So it's more than just biology or chemistry, right?
Right.
Environmental science brings together all sorts of disciplines
Okay.
to help us understand the really intricate relationships
Yeah.
in our world.
Okay.
But this holistic view, that actually creates unique problems for scientists.
Oh, like what?
Well, imagine trying to study, like, gravity,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But you only have one planet to work with.
Right.
That's the one Earth problem.
Okay.
We can't just create a control Earth to compare against.
Yeah.
And almost every single corner of our planet has been touched by humans in some way,
Yeah.
which makes it hard to find a truly undisturbed baseline.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
It's like trying to solve a puzzle with like
Yeah.
half the pieces missing.
exactly.
And it's not just about the missing pieces.
Right. Yeah,
It's about how they all fit together. Right.
Exactly.
That's where this whole systems idea comes in.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and Mono Lake is like a perfect example.
Oh.
You see, diverting that water for LA didn't just shrink the lake.
Right.
It triggered this whole chain reaction.
Oh, okay.
Salinity levels went way up,
Yeah.
impacted the algae,
Uh-huh.
then the brine shrimp,
Okay.
and then eventually the entire food web.
Wow, it's like a domino effect.
It is.
And this whole concept of residence time, that's how long something like sticks around in the system.
Yeah,
Right?
right. And so, like, Mono Lake's smaller volume
Okay.
meant that pollutants were flushed out quicker.
Okay.
This faster residence time actually made the lake even more vulnerable
Wow.
to pollution.
Okay, so it's all about interconnectedness.
It is.
But these systems, they don't just sit there, do they?
No.
They don't react. They change
Right.
based on like what's happening within them.
Yes.
Right? Like feedback loops.
Yes.
I was reading about those.
Feedback loops are fascinating.
Yeah.
Take the temperature and CO2 cycle, for example.
Okay.
So as temperatures rise, right,
Yeah.
permafrost thaws,
Right.
releases methane,
Okay.
a potent greenhouse gas,
Uh-huh.
which further warms the planet, right?
Yeah.
Leads to more thawing,
Yeah.
more methane release.
Right.
That's a positive feedback loop.
Okay.
It amplifies the change.
A vicious cycle.
Exactly.
So are all feedback loops bad?
Not necessarily, no.
Right.
Think about predator-prey relationships.
Okay.
So as a prey population booms,
Yeah.
predator numbers increase,
Uh-huh.
eventually bringing the prey back down.
Okay.
That's a negative feedback loop
Right.
that actually stabilizes the system.
That a natural thermostat.
Exactly.
Keeping things in check.
Yes.
So Mono Lake's recovery wasn't just about adding water back in.
No.
It was about understanding the whole system.
Precisely.
Right.
Scientists had to figure out how all the pieces fit together,
Yeah.
the salinity,
Uh-huh.
the algae,
Right.
the birds that relied on the lake.
Yeah.
And that understanding allowed them to create a plan
Right.
to bring Mono Lake back to life.
It's an incredible comeback story.
It is.
But it really makes you realize just how much biodiversity we stand to lose
Yeah.
if we don't pay attention to these complex systems.
It's a great segue to our next topic,
Okay.
biodiversity.
Okay.
And we're not just talking about counting species.
Right.
Biodiversity goes deeper
Yeah.
to the level of genes.
Okay.
You see, genetic diversity
Uh-huh.
within a species
Okay.
is actually what fuels its ability
Okay.
to adapt and survive.
Okay. So the more diverse a species is genetically,
Yes.
the better its chances of like making it in a changing world.
Precisely.
Right.
You might have heard of the peppered moth evolving during the Industrial Revolution.
Right, yeah.
But what about the Tasmanian devil?
Oh, yeah.
So they're facing this contagious cancer.
Right.
It's wiping them out.
Yeah.
But scientists have actually discovered a handful of devils with genetic resistance.
Oh, wow.
It's a glimmer of hope for the species' survival.
So it's like having a diverse portfolio, right?
They're more likely to weather the storms.
Exactly.
But genetics aren't the only thing that determines where a species can live.
Of course not, no.
Right.
Think of the baobab tree.
Oh, yeah.
They look like they belong on another planet
Huh.
with their massive water-storing trunks.
Yeah.
It's that adaptation
Right.
that lets them thrive in these arid environments.
Okay.
Then there are species that are just battling it out
Right.
for limited resources.
So it makes me wonder,
Yeah.
are there places with, tons of resources, but surprisingly low diversity?
There are. Salt marshes, for example,
Uh-huh.
they're teeming with nutrients.
Right.
But the extreme conditions, like
Yeah.
fluctuating salinity,
Right.
low oxygen,
Yeah.
makes it a tough place to live.
Yeah.
Only a select few, like those salt-tolerant grasses,
Okay.
can handle it.
Right.
So you get surprisingly low diversity.
Wow. So even abundance has its limits.
It does.
It's like that old saying.
Location, location, location.
Right.
But it's not just about where a species lives.
Right.
It's about their role in the community.
Exactly. And that's where keystone species come in.
Okay, give me a really cool example of a keystone species.
Oi?
One that makes me go, wow, nature is amazing.
How about the sea otter?
Okay.
They might look cuddly,
Yeah.
but they're voracious predators of sea urchins.
Oh, wow.
So without otters,
Yeah.
urchins would devour the kelp forests,
Oh, no.
creating underwater wastelands.
Really?
But the otters keep them in check,
Okay.
allowing the kelp forests to flourish,
Wow.
which in turn support a whole ecosystem.
Okay.
Fish,
Yeah.
invertebrates,
Right.
birds.
It's amazing.
That's
Who
a
knew
lot.
those cute little otters were so important?
Right.
They're like the guardians of the kelp forest.
They are.
So we've got biodiversity, we've got systems.
Yeah.
What about population ecology?
Okay.
That seems to be all about the numbers game.
Exactly. It's about understanding how populations grow,
Right.
shrink,
Yeah.
and interact with their environment.
Okay.
It's not just about counting heads.
Right.
It's about understanding the factors
Uh-huh.
that drive those numbers.
Okay. So what are some of the key things that determine how big or small
Okay.
a population gets?
Well, one of the fundamental concepts
Yeah.
is carrying capacity.
Okay.
It's like a speed limit for population growth.
Got it.
The maximum number of individuals that an environment can support.
Okay.
Think of it like a buffet.
Okay.
There's only so much food to go around.
Right. Makes sense.
Right.
So what happens when a population hits that speed limit?
You can get what's called an overshoot,
Okay.
followed by a crash. The population blows past the carrying capacity.
yeah.
Resources dwindle.
Yeah.
And then, boom,
Yeah.
population crash.
Wow.
It's a stark reminder that even within a single species,
Right.
population dynamics can be pretty complex.
It's a delicate balance.
It is.
But populations aren't always just like neatly contained within a single area.
No, they're not.
Right.
No.
Think about like how animals migrate or disperse.
That's where the concept of metapopulations comes in.
Okay.
Imagine a mountain range with patches of suitable habitat
Okay.
for, let's say, a rare butterfly.
Okay.
These butterflies exist in separate
Uh-huh.
but interconnected
Okay.
populations,
Okay.
with individuals occasionally moving between those patches.
Got it.
This movement ensures genetic diversity
Right.
and can help prevent extinction.
It's like they're playing a game of musical chairs, but with survival on the line.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered individual species,
Uh-huh.
their populations.
Right.
What about how different species
Yeah.
interact within a community?
Community ecology.
Okay.
This is where we delve into the relationships between species.
Okay.
The good,
Mm-hmm.
the bad,
Right.
and the mutually beneficial.
So, like a high school drama, but with ecological stakes? Let's start with competition.
Okay.
Seems like a constant battle for resources.
It can be,
Right.
but it's not always like this head-to-head fight.
Okay.
Sometimes it's about subtle differences
Uh-huh.
in resource use.
Okay.
Take Darwin's finches.
Okay.
They all live on the Galapagos Islands.
Right.
But each species has evolved
Yeah.
a slightly different beak shape,
Mm-hmm.
allowing them to specialize
Okay.
on different food sources.
Oh, interesting.
This actually reduces direct competition
Okay.
and allows them to coexist.
So it's like they've divided up the cafeteria,
Exactly.
each species staking out their own little niche.
Yeah.
But what about those relationships where one species benefits
Okay.
at the expense of another?
Yeah.
Predation, right.
Exactly. Predation is often portrayed as a negative interaction,
Right.
but it plays a vital role
Okay.
in regulating ecosystems.
Okay.
Wolves, for example, get a bad rap,
Yeah.
but by preying on elk,
Uh-huh.
they actually prevent overgrazing, which can have cascading effects on the whole ecosystem.
It's nature's way of keeping things in check.
Exactly.
So we've got competition,
Yeah.
predation.
Yeah.
What about those win-win situations?
Ah, yes.
Right.
Mutualism.
Okay.
This is where two species team up
Okay.
for mutual benefit.
Okay.
One of the most fascinating examples
Yeah.
is the relationship between cleaner fish
Okay.
and larger fish.
Okay.
These tiny cleaner fish set up shop
Uh-huh.
on coral reefs
Right.
and diligently remove parasites from larger fish,
Wow.
even venturing into their mouths.
No way.
The cleaners get a meal,
Yeah.
and the larger fish get a spa treatment,
Right.
keeping them healthy.
That's incredible.
Right.
It's a reminder that nature is full of these amazing partnerships.
It is.
Okay, so we've explored biodiversity, populations, and communities.
Right.
So it seems like we're ready to zoom out even further
Okay.
and look at ecosystems as a whole.
Indeed. Ecosystems encompass both the living
Okay.
and non-living components
Yeah.
of a particular environment.
Okay.
The stage and the actors, if you will,
Right.
and all the intricate processes that link them.
Okay, I'm ready to see the whole play unfold.
Right.
What are the key things that we need to understand
Right.
about how ecosystems work?
Well, one of the fundamental concepts
Okay.
is energy flow.
Okay.
It all starts with the sun,
Okay.
the ultimate energy source.
Yeah.
For most ecosystems,
Yay.
plants,
Huh.
algae,
Yeah.
they capture that energy through photosynthesis,
Okay.
converting it into usable energy.
So plants are like the solar panels of the natural world?
Exactly.
Right.
And then come the herbivores,
Yeah.
munching on those plants,
Uh-huh.
capturing a portion of that stored energy.
Okay.
And then the carnivores come along,
Right.
feeding on the herbivores and so on.
It's like a chain reaction of energy transfer. But it seems like that energy isn't transferred perfectly, is it?
No, you're right.
Some of it gets lost along the way, right?
Energy pyramids illustrate this beautifully.
Okay.
Each trophic level,
Uh-huh.
from producers at the bottom
Right.
to top predators at the top,
Okay.
represents a decrease in available energy.
Right.
So it's estimated that only about 10%
Wow.
of the energy from one level is transferred to the next.
Okay.
The rest is lost as heat or used in metabolic processes.
So it's like a game of telephone, but with energy
Yes.
instead of whispers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The message gets weaker with each transfer.
But energy isn't the only thing cycling through ecosystems?
No.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
We also have those crucial biogeochemical cycles.
Okay.
Think carbon,
Mm-hmm.
nitrogen,
Right.
phosphorus. They're like the behind-the-scenes crew,
Right.
making sure that the stage is set for life.
Okay.
Take the nitrogen cycle, for instance.
Okay.
Nitrogen is essential for building proteins,
Yeah.
DNA.
Yeah.
But most organisms can't use it directly
Okay.
from the atmosphere.
So how do they get their nitrogen fix?
That's where nitrogen-fixing bacteria come in.
Okay.
They've got this amazing ability
Mhm.
to convert atmospheric nitrogen
Yeah.
into forms that plants can use.
Wow.
It's a remarkable partnership.
Right.
Bacteria providing these essential nutrients,
Yeah.
and plants, in turn, providing a home and food for the bacteria.
It's another reminder of the interconnectedness of life.
It is.
Okay, we've covered the basics of ecosystem.
Yeah.
And this deep dive into environmental science.
It was my pleasure.
We'll catch you next time.